So nobody likes to winterize, but we all have to do it. So I thought I'd just go over some of the reminders. All of you know how to do your rigs, except for you newbies. And the newbies, well, it's that time of year. Just like us, we got one more trip planned, and then after that, we're probably gonna park them and winterize them and spend the rest of the year with family and have the holidays and eat too much, all that good stuff. But so let's talk a little bit about what you have to do to winterize your rigs. Now, all of us are not fortunate to be able to park our rigs inside of a heated building, at least not me. So even though we park our coach inside a building, it is not heated. I'm gonna have to winterize it. And our trailer's sitting out here, and we will, here's my neighbor up there. So anyway, we're gonna have to winterize this one. So let's talk a little bit about it. So we'll just start at the front, and most of you have a house battery, what's called a house battery. And that's what runs your trailer. Now, ours just got solar on it, and it runs off lithium batteries, but it does have a wet cell battery on the tongue, which runs the tongue jack. So that will have to be properly maintained. And to do that on a wet cell, you want to make sure that you pop the top off of it and make sure that the levels are at the appropriate level on them. And if it's a little bit low, you're going to want to top that off. And to top off a wet cell, don't go pour tap water in it. It'll ruin it. You want to use distilled water or the acid if you want to go purchase the acid and put it in. If it's a little bit low, distilled water is just fine. So distilled water if it's just a little bit low. And you want to put a battery maintainer on it. So we put battery maintainers on everything that we have. Now, the lithium, its battery maintainer is the solar panels and the charge controllers. But all the rest of our batteries, whether they be wet cell, AGM, which is a closed cell wet mat, there's really nothing you can do to those other than just check them and make sure that they're not swelled. They're just make sure they look right. They shouldn't look distorted or cracked or leaking, or around the terminal shouldn't have a lot of corrosion coming out around them, that kind of stuff. And that's another thing. Always make sure that you're maintaining the terminals on them. If they're corroded, it's not charging proper, and you're not getting the proper power out of your battery because of the corrosion. And that can lead to all kinds of problems. If you've got low power coming out of a battery, or you say it's inconsistent power, it can cause all kinds of issues. So just make sure that you're properly maintaining your batteries. I keep saying that, but it's very important. All right, once you've done the batteries, we want to move on to tires. Tires are super important, aren't they? Especially if you can't keep them under the trailer. So what I do is I put, a little easy for me this morning, can't operate the camera. Anyway, I put tire covers on mine. When I'm not using it, it has tire covers. This keeps the UV rays off of them. UV rays is what really kills your tires anyway. The sun just keeps beating on them, and it pulls all of the petroleum products and stuff that tires are made out of. It just pulls them all out, and then it dry rots them. I know you've heard of dry rot, and that's what it's really doing. It's drying them out and rotting them. So it's just dry rot. So anyway, keep them covered if you can. It doesn't have to be a fancy cover like I put on. You can go out there and put an old tarp over it, put towels over it, anything you want to put over it. I put these over it because they're weatherproof. When they rain on them, it just takes the water off of them, keeps it away from the tires. And I don't want water around them because you end up with corrosion and rust and all those kind of problems. So I just spent a few extra bucks and bought the regular covers for them. Now, one of the reasons it's important, and I will show you, is you really don't see it on this cover here. But if you leave stuff out in the sun long enough, it will start to look like this. All right, this is the spare tire on the back. Really, if the sun was shining back here a little bit better, it would be way more noticeable. In fact, that's why I'm making this video today. I noticed it yesterday, but down about this far, from here down, it looks really nice and black like it came. From about here across, it has gotten to where it looks a little, with the dew off of it, it's gotten where it looks a little milky looking, faded out. The sun has faded it. I'll try to come back out in a little while and get a little better picture of where you can see what I'm talking about. But you can see here, see how it's kind of grayed out, and the further down you go, the blacker it gets back to the original color. But that's just because the sun's faded it out. And that's what's going to happen to your tires if you don't take proper care of them. So speaking about proper care of your tires, you really should make sure that the tire pressures are correct on them. Don't just park them and forget it and look out later and say that they're half flat. That is very hard on a tire. I know you guys have heard people talk about flat spotting a tire. You hook up to your trailer and you take off, and for the first 50 miles it feels like all the tires are out of round. That's because they are. They've been sitting so long that the steel belts in them actually have bent some, and they're out of round. And it takes a while for them to warm up and get rounded back up. And if it's bad enough, you can actually break the belts and they'll never get rounded again. So make sure that you're putting proper air pressure in them, and check them over the winter. Look out there. When the sun quits beating on them, the pressures are actually going to drop during the winter. So go out and look at them. If they need to be topped off, top them off. One of the things I like to do, and I don't do it every time, I'm just being honest, but one of the things I like to do is when I park my trailer, I actually take 4 jack stands. I'll jack the trailer up, put them right under the springs where the hangers and stuff are, and I'll get the tires off the ground and then put the covers on it. That keeps the tires round all winter. Also keeps them up off the ground so the water and the ice and all the nasty stuff that's going to get on them during the winter keeps them off of them. And all of you know, tires are expensive, so it's an investment. Protect your investment. All right, that's enough about tires. All right, the next thing we need to talk about is water. Water can be very destructive. And I mean destructive in several ways. It's always bad if you get water in your trailer or your bus or whatever it is that you have, even your house. But water is so destructive, and one of the ways to avoid that is to make sure there is no water in the pipes. It's pretty easy. Go to your if you have a manufactured trailer. Now in my case, I have a cargo trailer that I built, so I happen to know how to winterize it. But if you don't, go to your manufacturer's manual and look in there and see. It'll have a whole chapter on winterization. Go in there and see how it says to do it, and follow it to a T. Don't miss steps. Don't think you know how to do it. Make sure that you read it the first time, and then after that, each year, go back and just look over it before you start, just to refresh yourself. But you're always going to find the lowest points. There's going to be drain points. You go in there and take the caps off. Go in there and open the valves, make sure all the water's out. Man, these trucks are just really helping me out this morning. We live pretty close to a recycling plant, and they're always coming and going. And for whatever reason, they think they don't need mufflers on them. That's fine. I like the way they sound. They used to drive a truck, but anyway, they're kind of noisy in the mornings. All right, where were we? Water. Yeah, so if the water is left in it somewhere and it's not properly drained, like in your P-traps, I always put just a little bit of RV antifreeze, and you can get the RV antifreeze just about anywhere. Walmart has it, and it'll be pink. I think it's always pink. I don't know, maybe it's not. What I use is the pink stuff. Pour a little bit in the P-traps. Don't forget to go in there and pour some in the kitchen, in the bathroom, the shower. Even in the toilet, I put some in the toilet. Even though it drops straight through, I put it there. It keeps the rubber rings and stuff, keeps them lubricated, keeps them from drying out. And I even put a little bit in the black tank. Now, they're all different as to how you get it into the system. So again, read your manual. Everybody's is different. But if you don't do this and you have a little bit of water left, it's not going to be good spring when you're ready to go camping and have fun. just to find out that you've got 3 or 4 elbows that busted and cracked. All of mine is PEX and brass, but that still doesn't mean that I don't have to protect it. The brass and PEX will last a lot better. Most of your manufactured trailers though, and coaches, they're going to be PEX these days, but they're going to have plastic fittings in them. And those plastic fittings is where it's going to break. Guarantee you, that's where it's going to break. Don't forget your water heaters. I have a on demand, so mine drains when the rest of it drains, but I designed it to drain that way. Most of your water heaters have a drain plug on it. You'll want to drain that, and you'll also want to, it's a good time of the year to change out the anno rods in them. Just go ahead and change it out and be done with it. They're not that expensive, not that hard to change. Now, if you don't change it for 5 years and all of a sudden it goes out one day, it's going to be a lot harder to change because it's going to be corroded in there. So just do it every year. I think that's enough about the water. So I don't want to be rambling on. I'm just trying to remind you guys the things that you need to do to make sure that you winterize it. On your awnings, always make sure that, like my awning is up here, always try to make sure that I have everything brushed out of it for the winter, because I don't want it getting wet and freezing, and anything that's in there, I don't know, it just seems like it bonds it to it or something when it freezes over the winter. It's really hard to get off, so I always take a brush and in fact, I wash my whole trailer before I put it up for the winter, just to make sure it doesn't have anything nasty on it. Not that I'm not going to have to wash it again in the springtime, because you know I will. I always like it clean, but just try to clean them up before you put them up. There you go. That even rhymes, don't it? All right, I don't know what else to tell you guys about winterizing. I just know I got to do mine, and I thought I just probably ought to just remind everybody to do the same. You guys are going to see more of this building in the future. In fact, I don't know, by now you may have already seen one of the videos that I did about what we're going to be doing with this building. I just love its old building. It's just rustic. It's got that old sawmill lumber on it. Anyway, I just like the way it looks. And the future use for it is going to be nice. I know we're going to enjoy it. You guys probably enjoy it. You get to come along and watch us actually do all the cleanup in the building and the remodeling of it. So if that's your thing, you're going to enjoy this. If it's not your thing, it's going to bore you to death and you'll want to move on. But all right, I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but the big thing is water, man. Just get the water out of the trailer, put the antifreeze in it, take care of your batteries. Like I said, we put maintainers on ours over the winters. Batteries are so expensive these days. If you're not maintaining them and taking care of them, you're gonna be dropping a couple grand if you got any batteries, especially the big batteries. Like our motorhome, it's got 3 of the big, I think they call them class 9 batteries or something. They're huge. Anyway, these things are super expensive, so you want to take care of those. Lithium, also, just to remind you, lithium people, make sure that they either have heaters built into them, or they have the BCMs will disconnect at freezing. If not, make sure you're keeping them warm if you're charging them. You can store them in freezing, but don't be trying to charge them. It will destroy those batteries. So just a reminder about lithium. All right, well, I walked around out here enough. Time to get busy doing something. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Wow, man, that sun is bright. Holy cow. I don't even know if I can show you guys. Yeah, that thing is bright. All right, well, let me get out of here and get busy. Hope you guys have enjoyed just listening to me this morning. If this has been helpful to you, give me the thumbs up. If it's not been helpful, give me the thumbs down. We don't care. Either way, we just want to know if what we're putting out is helping you guys or not. Comment below if I forgot something, or maybe I need to remember to do something that I haven't mentioned. So help me out a little bit. Subscribe subscribe to the channel if you haven't so far. It's absolutely free, costs you nothing. Can't say that about many things these days. I keep telling you guys, it's a beautiful world. Get out there and explore some. All right, we'll see you a little later. Bye.